I'm a guy in my late 20s who saved up 30 to 50K and wants to get into real estate. Which route would you go with the knowledge you have now? First thing of note, I've been speaking a lot about house hacking. With him owning his own house already and probably knows about it, I'm not going to include that in this. So if you were going to go beyond that, ground up, there's a lot of risk involved. It's really fun. It's really sexy. And I would love to do more of it just because I think it's super cool and it's something I would like to invest in personally. But there's a lot of risk involved. Now, if you've got a friend that is, building houses for his company, month after month, year after year, and really has a good handle on these things, it could be very interesting. What I'll say, though, is it does change from, being on the construction side and putting things together to now, analyzing a deal, making stuff work, right? When you're building something, you got to account for interest reserve. You got to look at contingencies. There may be some other things you don't account for, right? What's the proper cost of capital if you're not going in all cash? What does a loan cost? You got to understand that. How does the draw work? You got to have those connections. You got to also have a personal track record to be able to go out and get that. Just because you have a construction background and you own a home doesn't mean you're just going to necessarily be able to go out there and get a construction loan, regardless of whether you have the right, financials, net worth, liquidity, debt to income ratios if they need it. You gotta make sure you have all that stuff lined up before you just decide to go build. It's not a bad option by any means. It's a very good option. It's not something I would personally be able to do because I don't have somebody with that background, and it's probably something I just personally wouldn't do. It's a little too risky for me, and I think we're towards the top of the market than the bottom, and I think there's a growing trend of rentals, so it may not be something I would do. Now, building a duplex or building rentals is something I would love to do personally. We were just talking about this at the meetup last night. If you didn't watch it, I'll be putting the video up soon. And I was talking to a guy who's building, I think, like a 30 unit somewhere in Long Island. I said, honestly, the ideal scenario for me is if I had, tons of money or, unlimited funds, or, I didn't need to make tons of money. I would love to build something and hold it for 30 years. And the reason for that is, one, you get to build something which I think is very cool, and you have an ability to create a ton of value from, buying land. The other part of that is when we go out and we buy deals, we buy it from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there's only so much you know about what you're buying. You really don't know what you're buying. You don't know how it was built. You don't know if somebody cut corners. You're not opening all the walls to see if they use a certain type of wood, nuts, shit I don't even know about. You find out it's built from wood frame or from concrete block, and, they use, a little bit. But when you build something yourself, you know exactly what the fuck you're doing and what you actually have. We do the best that we can with the resources we have available to us. But if you build a property or you buy a property that somebody else built, especially if it's been traded a few times, if you buy from an original developer, maybe you get the full story, maybe you don't, really depends. But you're going to know that thing like the back of your hand. You're going to be able to take care of that thing really well. You're going to be able to run it super lean going forward. So being able to build something and hold it for a long time, I think creates a lot of that value up front. You can probably get a good loan afterwards and pull out a lot of the equity that you had, maybe even all of it, depending upon how long you do it. If you hold that thing for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, at some point, just the way real estate tends to go, it's going to appreciate enough that you're going to pull out all your equity and you could then go do it again. So, it takes money to kind of do that. If you don't have a ton of money, developing and selling will net you more money in your pocket quicker to build up a nest egg to go do that. But if you already have a substantial size nest egg, I would definitely build and hold for the long term, because I think it's just the most risk averse if you know what you're doing, and hopefully you do, and you'll know the most about that property than you ever will compared to anything else. So if we're talking about building, I would go for the duplex and I would hold it, and I would try to refi out as much as I can, and then see if I can save up some more money and then just continue to repeat the process. Outside of that, I think other really good strategies, as much as it's not as sexy, starting today and building up rentals, if you can chunk off, $30,000 to $50,000 every couple years, that money is going to build over time and build interest over time. So it may not make you a millionaire by the time, you said late 20s. So, it may not make you, a millionaire by the time you're 40, but it'll probably make you a millionaire by the time you're 60, 70 years old and you're looking to retire or you're looking to create generational wealth. So if you have a much longer term view, I would definitely consider rentals, even if it's not a, significant short-term gain, as a really great avenue, whether it's multifamily, single-family homes, etc. And you can always then pivot, or you can allocate your money between two different things, right? Play both sides of the coin. Go super aggressive on development of single-family homes. Take some of that money and, buy a couple rentals every year and go long-term as well. So that way, you're getting the super aggressive to try to build a nest egg, and then you're also getting the rental side and going long-term and a little bit more risk averse.